Go to the smartphone app stores and search for Newsreader, and you'll get hundreds of hits. One of them has managed 5 million downloads in a year. It's a startup called Pulse that lets you seamlessly navigate a bunch of news sources at once. Like so many new startups, Pulse began as a project at Stanford University. Co-founder Akshay Kothari joins me now, and it's no secret, I love Pulse. I use it very frequently, so I'm so glad to have you here. I use it primarily to read news, but there's so much else going on there, and you guys just signed a big partnership with ESPN.
Yeah, no, you know, when we started in Stanford, my co-founder Ankit and I were really into technology news, and that's what we were kind of reading a lot. But it's really fascinating to see how it's kind of emerged. You know, there are people who are using it, like a lot of people in the financial industry are using it to kind of just keep up with their portfolio companies. And one of the big kind of, you know, what users requested was the sports category, which has actually been one of the most underserved markets in the App Store. And so we're really excited to have ESPN on board with all of their content. And they're the world leaders in kind of like the sports news. So really excited to have them on. So
what is your relationship with the content providers? How do you negotiate these kinds of deals?
Yeah, so it's a very beginning of our kind of partnership with them. So at the current kind of deal, we have news from all of their different sports that they cover, all the different headlines, whether it's you know, baseball that the season just started yesterday, all the way to kind of boxing, and you can read all of those news. And moving forward, we can actually go deeper so that you can actually follow different teams and news around them. And at the moment, like we're basically creating a way where ESPN can kind of distribute this content onto these different places where digitally people are reading their news.
So part of the reason I like Pulse is because it's free and there are no ads, which leads me to wonder how you guys make money. How do you guys make money? How do you plan to make money?
You know, one of the first things we learned when we were at Stanford at the design school was product iteration. It's this whole idea that you don't have to think about you know, something for 6 months and then do it. So we made the first version of Pulse in 6 weeks. And over the last year, we've kind of continuously iterated on it. And what's happened is we have a 5 million really engaged user base. And we're getting a lot of interest from brands. We're getting a lot of interest from advertisers. We're getting a lot of interest from e-commerce players. And I think when we get to a point where we're very satisfied with the product, you know, we will continue to iterate on the business side as well. We'll kind of throw things out there and really work with our users and our publishers to figure out a way that works for them as well as for us.
What kind of data are you gathering about users, and could that be useful? And could that be something that people would pay money for?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting data points. It's all anonymized, but you can, for a person who's reading Pulse, you can see what he or she is really interested, like what are they reading, what are they sharing, you know, how much time are they spending on a particular category. Because it's really interesting to see if a person is following, say, Bloomberg or other bigger publishers, but along with that, he's also following 2 fashion blogs he's really interested in. And that's really, really interesting data.
Now, obviously, you guys are growing very fast. I'm sure you're troubleshooting things all over the place. One of the things I noticed is that sometimes it'll shut down on me. Why does that happen?
No, it's something that we have to work on and continue to iterate on the product so that it stays very stable.
So why is it unstable?
Well, it's something like, as you can imagine, there's so much content coming into Pulse. And this, you know, it started off as just text and images, but now we're getting all these beautiful videos that you can read within Pulse. And then taking that onto a small device like phone and actually being able to kind of do all of that. The other thing is we're a very small team. You know, just a few months ago, we were about 7 people. We've grown to about 12 people now. And as we kind of grow the team, I think those problems will go away.
How do you view Flipboard? It's kind of the darling in this iPad news business.
You know, Flipboard is a great company. I think if you look at their space, I think they kind of almost attract an interesting user profile, which is kind of laid back, casual reading. I don't know if it's because of the design or if it's because of the way we've presented the information. We attract a lot of really active users who come back multiple times a day, who are always on top of their news, who wants to, they want to be on the pulse of what's going on. And that's what's kind of the user profile that we're generating.
One thing I'm interested in is your curated feeds. I'll be watching to see how those develop. All right. Akshay Kothari, thanks so much for joining us here on Bloomberg West.